First of all, I want to say congratulations to everybody for getting on the call, and I want to special thanks you, Elizabeth, to getting on and pouring into everybody just for a couple minutes here, 5-10 minutes, whatever. We're not looking for anything more than that.
I'll stay on as long as you want.
I appreciate it. Listen, here's the deal. I'm gonna keep it real simple for you. Tonight, I'm gonna cover something with my group here and everybody that's on here. What I call the daily and weekly success habits of successful unfranchised owners. Things that successful unfranchised owners across the board do consistently that make a difference. If you guys can all mute yourself, that I can mute everybody, but I don't want to just hit mute if you can. Let's keep yours on. I'm gonna mute everybody here.
I'm gonna mute mine too. Just
all right, there we go. Just so we don't have back reverb. So anyway, so we got about 40-something people on, Elizabeth. So what this is basically, this is a culmination of a few of our fast track teams and our blitz teams. We call them our blitz teams, all on one. We combined it tonight with our what we call Team Building Tuesday. Every Tuesday night at 9:30, Elizabeth, at night we've been getting on, and we've been talking about different tips, 1 or 2 tips a week that can help people really expand their business, and just pick at them bite size every single Tuesday night for about 20 or 30 minutes. So I thank you for getting on. I appreciate you getting on. And then I'd like you just to contribute something. I'm going to go over this real quickly, but I want you to start from your perspective. I'm going to high level this for you, and then I want you to elaborate on as much as you can, right? And this is what I found. From my experiences, I'll be 21 years in July, right? And I've watched commonalities across the entire unfranchised world of certain habits that all successful unfranchised owners have. And there are also things that unfranchised owners that maybe didn't make it to the level that they wanted to were missing at the exact same time. It's just these commonalities that I found. And I found 4 major ones from an actions perspective, Elizabeth, and 4 from a developmental or personal development standpoint. So here's the 4 and 4, and then I want you to elaborate on these as much as you want, but then if you can also, because this is where you're the queen and king and master at, helping people with the process of creating that inertia in their business when they're having people see the plan and test running it, or making them lead the people before you start them. Like,
all right, so Dawn, I hear a lot of back feed from people that aren't muted. So let's mute everybody.
Everybody's muted but you and me.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, so you start, but
yep.
I think I pretty much know what everybody's not doing.
Yep.
I pretty much know it already. So why don't we go through those, and then I'll tell you what that is.
I love it. Okay, good. So, guys, so you know who Elizabeth is, by the way. For those of you who don't know, she's Market America's top earner, multi-million dollar club member. She well over $1 million+ a year. I'm sure she's close to that $2 million a year, getting closer and closer to that $2 million a year mark. And she's just leading from the front. She has since early on in the business. So that's really exciting to have her on, and thank you for getting on, Elizabeth. So here's what we got, guys. Four things from a personal development aspect, 4 things from a results producing aspect that every successful unfranchised owner that I have experienced in my career has in common. And I want you guys to commit to these things. And then I'm going to turn over to Elizabeth and have her chime in, and then tell you guys how to be the people. So here's the actions. The actions are the first one. Actions. Mastering the evaluation approach. They consistently mastered how to get people to evaluate the business, right? They have mastered the evaluation approach, and they understand the psychology behind it. How to get people to look at the business without them feeling pressured or being forced into doing something. That's number 1. Second thing is they make direct communication to book appointments. They don't try to hide behind technology. They actually communicate with people and they directly contact them. They either call them or they text to call them, but they have real direct conversations where they don't just send mass texts or mass emails or mass messages, but they actually physically communicate with people and ask them to evaluate the business.
I love it.
It's involving versus inviting. That's the second thing. The third thing is that they mastered and practiced showing the plan all the time. They didn't rely on other people to do it for them. Over time, they learned how to do it themselves, and they mastered how to show the plan, or at least they built into practicing showing the plan on a regular basis. My favorite way to practice it, by the way, is by sketching it out. Because if you can master sketching it out, you can show it any other way you want, and you really understand it when you do it. That's the third action I did. And the fourth one is they buy for themselves every single week. They consistently are converting their own spending into their own business instead of catching themselves going outwards and doing it. Now, obviously, that is the individual personalized actions that people do consistently. Now, that's actions. Now, the second one are developmental. And audio from the company every single day, like religiously. Every single successful unfranchised owner I've found that are six-figure earners and above, they always listen to audios over and over and over and over and over again. Market America audios, because they had to train their brain to keep going. They developed their mind to get better every single day. Number one. Number two, they do a counseling with somebody. Elizabeth Elizabeth was counseling directly with JR when she started, right? Elizabeth, you were counseling. I counsel with my accountant. The people that I've worked with to make it, we had at least a weekly counseling, sometimes more often, where we just communicate and we're measuring, monitoring, adjusting, and controlling, getting a counseling session with somebody. The second thing for development. Third thing is they're on a weekly team call of some type, whether it be an accountability group or something that keeps a bunch of peers together where they're accountable to each other. And then the fourth thing is they pre-purchase tickets and they consistently attend those events and they bring and promote their people to come too. That's my 4 personal development actions. So I will tell you right now that I challenge every single person to do those 4 personal activities of actions every week and 4 personal activities of development every week. And I dare you to do those things. I don't think it's possible to make it. All right, so that's my perspective. And we got the one and only Elizabeth Weber here. So anything you can talk about in those categories, Elizabeth, and then if you can give your flavor, because we really have installed into our team how to get people leading the people to create inertia when they start bringing people in. Not be so worried about registering them, but getting leading the people. So go. Thank you so much for being on.
And listen, Dawn, I appreciate and love your passion. You're amazing.
Thank you.
I just want you to know that. We all know that. Let me tell you something. I love that, there are so many people here tonight, 46 participants, which is great. Now, is this an accountability team? Do they actually have to hold themselves accountable?
Yes. So the majority of people on here are on one of the, we have several going on.
I get it. All right, the most important thing, I think, if you want to create synergy, a sense of urgency, team, if you want to create something that explodes, you got to do your 2 personal evaluations a week. Just no way around it. If you're not doing minimum of 2 personal evaluations a week, you're not on the 2 to 3 year plan. It's as simple as that. That's part of it. Does everybody get that? I mean, I don't have to do this business anymore. I love it. I love 2 personal evaluations. That's it. For 2 to 3 years to make a 6-figure residual income and imprinting correctly. And I'll tell you why. And I love what you said, Dawn, the psychology behind it. Critical. People are motivated by 2 things. What do you think they are?
Fear, loss, sense of gain.
Exactly. FOMO, fear of missing out. Now, when you do your 2 personal evaluations every week, those people got to go somewhere, right? They got to go somewhere. When you're doing a trial run with somebody else's person because you're imprinting correctly, and your personals are going to be going on that team, and this is my #1 secret sauce. It's what I do every time, and I'll tell you about something I did today. You have your personals on the trial run Zoom, right? Your own people. Do you know that that pumps people up more than anything else that you could do? Because you're going to say, you know what? You guys are all going to be on the same team. It's whoever qualifies first. I get people qualifying in 2 days. And how long does it take you to get people to qualify? Think about this. The only thing you can leverage is people, right? Leverage your time, but leverage people with Zoom. The fact that you can get everybody on the same Zoom at the same time was physically impossible before. Like, you have got to put everybody that's economically connected to each other on that Zoom. I don't put people that aren't, like, I'll have people to come in to like pop into Match and Mirror, but the people I want on that Zoom have to be economically connected. And you don't want a lot of people. People want to feel important. So the team gets on with, I'd say 4-to-1 ratio. That's a good ratio. And if they're all economically connected and then all of a sudden you have a guest, your own personal, that you're plugging in and they're going to be on the same team, and it all depends on who qualifies first. Can everybody get that?
Yeah. I said that yesterday. I said that yesterday on a call because somebody said, hey, Don, one of the challenges I had, and I just want to reiterate what you just said because I want to make sure we got it. Somebody said yesterday, they said, you know, one of the challenges I had is I had a lot of personal sponsors, but then I spent all my time helping them get going, so my personals dropped off. And I said, the most important thing you can do is when you're doing your trial run meetings with those people, you leverage by bringing your personal guest on with their trial run meeting. So now you're leveraging your time, but that creates synergy and it shows that you're doing what you're asking them to do and you're leading from the front and you're not just going into what I call management mode.
It creates such a sense of urgency, fear of missing out. It creates synergy, it creates teamwork, it leverages people, it leverages their testimonials. It's amazing what happens. And I'll give you a perfect example because this just happened today. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I think I took a picture of it, but not that you guys care about pictures, but
We do
hold on, let me see here. I'm not going to waste time looking for a photo. I'm just telling you this right now. I'll put it in your team page.
Cool.
I had about 16 people on today that were all in the same team. I had 2 people that just started on the same team. That person led to a former NFL football player who led to another former NFL football player I had people who led to people who led to people, and then everybody that was economically connected, I put on the Zoom. And they were like, whoa. I'm like, it's not about what you do. It's not about what he does. It's about what we all do as a team.
That's right.
And we had on that team, I don't know, 3 trial runs, 2 registrations. I wait till people ask me to register them. I'll say, when you're ready to register, okay, you're all set, you've qualified, you're all set, you've qualified. We've got all these people in the trail run. I have like so many people, and I just started this a week ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, Dawn, a lot of you know what I'm talking about, but people got to lead to people. You can't be so rushed into registering them. They got to qualify. They'll ask you to register.
Yeah.
You guys get so like focused on registering somebody that you're not seeing the big picture of people leading to people. So the two personals are critical. I think that's whether or not that's like a lot of people do get in management mode. And I understand, like, you want to help your people, but bullshit. You bring your people in with their people and you help them. You help them.
Right.
Best way to help people.
Yeah.
And people do what you do. Trust me. If you don't have people on that Zoom, what are they thinking? It's one thing for them to, right, it's one thing for them to bring people on. That's great, that's cool. But when you bring somebody on, it changes the atmosphere. They're like, what? This is oh my God, I could have them under, like, it's just crazy what happens. And I think that's the secret sauce.
Well, I did tell you, Norm Burkholder, you remember Norm, the guy who was my pseudo sponsor, Elizabeth, that passed several years ago. But Norm Burkholder was the number one thing he taught me early on was exactly what Elizabeth was saying. He goes, every time, because I got moving. I sponsored like 21 people my first year. And I didn't come. I was like 8 years after the company started. So I was like not an early adopting pioneer. I came, Elizabeth, you were already international field president.
Whatever.
Yeah. And you were at a million a year already and all this stuff. But what happened was when I came in, I put a bunch of people in and Norm said, listen, I'm going to tell you the most important thing that you'll learn moving forward. He goes, you're already listening to audios every day. I did that from the day I started. You're already, practicing showing the plan and showing the plan. You're already on the team calls we're doing. You're doing all these basic actions. But he said, the one thing is, no matter how many people you bring on, when you're doing meetings for those people, you always have to bring a personal sponsor for yourself to that meeting with them, because that, like you said, changes everything. And it shows them that you're one of them and you're not just trying to make money off of them, but you're doing it with them.
And it's about a team.
Yeah.
It's not, and when people, it's all about belief, guys. This whole business is about belief. When you believe you have a system that anybody can follow, weave it into what they're already doing to make a six-figure residual income, because you can do it on Zoom now. You can imprint properly. You can leverage people's success stories. You can match and mirror. You can create a sense of urgency, create FOMO, whatever. When you believe that, you're going to make it. And you're going to make it big. But you got to demonstrate that belief by going out and asking people to evaluate it yourself.
Can you tell me how you were approached, Elizabeth? How the top earner was in the market in America, right?
I'm going to tell you the whole story, the full story.
Thank you.
I brought my sponsor into 9 different multi-level marketing companies. The guy that sponsored me into this, I had tried all these different companies, got him to do every company. And so when he asked me to look at this, I was like, no, I'm good. I had just registered with another MLM and he knew I was happy and I was not interested. I did not want to look at this, like, get away from me. Like, no, he goes, wait a minute. I tried all those things that you asked me to look at. You can at least evaluate this for me and let me know if I'm doing the right thing. Like, stop me if you think it's wrong, but I just want to get your take on it. And if you think about it, anything you do, guys, in life, if you're making a decision that you really care about. This isn't even a big money decision, but if you're buying a business, buying a house, buying even a car, you're going to ask a couple of people to look at it. So why wouldn't you have them look at this? If you're going to be getting into a business that can change your life, why wouldn't you ask people to evaluate it? It just doesn't make sense to me. So, and that's the thing. You got to teach that approach, because guess what? When you tell, this is so, I have so many important things to say because I've been doing all this stuff, but when you ask people to use that evaluation approach when they're ready to take a trial run, they can't help it. They throw up all over people. They try to explain it. No matter how much you tell them to use that approach, you're like, I told you not to do that. You want to wring them by the neck. So what you got to do is tell a story, because stories they'll remember. So I tell people, listen, please, you have to use the evaluation approach. Don't try to explain anything. Just tell them you're looking at something. The best way to get somebody to evaluate it is when you're evaluating it, and that you like their opinion on it. You just want them to take a look. They may not be interested, but you value their opinion. Just ask them to evaluate it. But tell them, even though you teach that, people are still going out and messing it up by saying too much. And you don't want that to happen to them.
Right.
Just that story alone triggers something in their brain, because they remember the story more than what you told them not to do. Does everybody get that?
You talk about the story that how you were introduced, right?
No, I talk about the story how you tell people not to tell people anything, just to have them evaluate it, and they tell them anyway. And then people think it's, and then people think it's one of those things, and you just lost a good person.
Right.
So you
listen,
tell them.
So if I'm talking to John, I would say, if I'm talking to John, I say, hey, John, listen, right? So I would say something like, hey, don't make the mistake of going, I want you to get people to evaluate, but don't make the mistake of going out there and saying too much, because that happens all too often where people go out there and they throw up all over and make it out. So by telling them the example,
and I feel so bad because they lose people that they could have helped or could have helped them. And it's really sad, because if you try to explain it, they're going to think it's one of those things, because you don't have the posture, you don't have the confidence, you don't have the belief. So I tell the story about the person that screws it up.
Right.
So they don't screw it up.
Right.
And it works every time. Now, if there are people who are going to get people to lead to people, everybody knows that, right? There are people who can do that. They're coachable. I don't know what's different, but they get people to lead to people. And I think what it is they have credibility. So when you recruit up, oh my God, people can lead to people. It's less work for you. And it's amazing what happens. So the higher you can recruit, even though we're not recruiting, but the people that you can get to evaluate it, if they're well connected, already successful, business leaders, what have you, those are smart people. They get this. And they're used to a certain lifestyle, and they need this more than anybody else, because they're used to that lifestyle. Those are the people I find that are looking, that lead to people where you explode. But you got to get out of your comfort zone and ask them to evaluate it. And how difficult is that? It's not. It's easy. It's just that it's you. You got to get over that fear and really believe that this is something where you can truly make a six-figure residual income if you just get over yourself. And I don't want to sound condescending or anything, but I know, because I've been through it all. I've been where you're at. I've put in my 10,000 hours, right?
Yeah.
I've learned over 11 years of failing. So don't tell me you've been in 4 years and, you know, you're not where you want to be, because hello. There are certain skill sets you need, like you said, Dawn, and actions that you need to take. And you can do this. It's not that difficult. And I forgot where I was. Where was I, Dawn?
No, I love that. I mean, I think you hit it. I mean, it's spot on. And you know, it's funny, guys. I know Elizabeth is like this, and you know, sometimes, you know, we'll help anybody. But the one thing Elizabeth does, and I've learned from her, and I've seen other successful franchises, I'm doing it too, is if we're going to work with people, they got to commit to some things, because we can't have them going and not be leading from the front, because if we put in time to help you get things going, but you're not setting the pace and leading from the front, it ends up falling apart anyway, because we're one person and it can only, so for me, I expect that anybody that I'm going to do meetings for to be doing these minimum activities to set the precedent, or else we can't, it doesn't help you.
Right, and people know me, Dawn. I tell them, listen, it's the people that I can get doing what I'm doing that I'm going to place people on their team.
That's right.
Like, I want to be able to offload, empower, build with somebody who's going to build with me. If I don't see you doing shit, I'm going to match your commitment. And we're going to build it really strong. You bring one in, I bring one in. You bring one in. Right? It's all about that. But this business is amazing. And you're going to have to learn how to tweak it. Like, it could be one little silly thing that you're saying. Like last night on my Zoom with my leaders, I asked them, what do you say at the end of part 1? And I don't know how you guys do it. And what do you say at the end of part 2? I want to know what you say, because it's your language that's determining the way that business is going to move. I can tell, and I was amazed at the variety of what people say. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I had one woman say, oh yeah, I tell them that, you know, I give them all the requirements and I go over their transfer, you know, their auto shipment. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, they haven't even qualified yet. And somebody else said, well, I go over, you know, all the money. And I'm like, wait a minute, money doesn't even matter at this point. We don't even know if they qualified. They got to take a trial run.
Right.
Please don't register people until you set them up for success and they've led to people. Utilize the team. Yes. And if you don't have anybody to do this with, find somebody, because it's so easy to help each other on Zoom. Be running mates and run with this. That's why we call it the trial run, not the trial walk.
That's right.
Do you know?
That's my favorite. I love that. It's my favorite. I love that.
Yeah. I did think of that myself.
Yeah, that was an E. Weber original.
That was an E. Weber original. It's not the trial run. It's not the trial walk. It's the trial run. But this business is simple, man. With Zoom, I hope that you guys are taking advantage of that platform, because it's going to get people to the events. I had a kickoff Friday night at my house. And do you know why they all came? Because they wanted to meet each other in person, because they met each other on Zoom.
Yep.
And it was like amazing. And that told me everything I needed to know. Our meetings are going to be bigger, stronger. Trainings are going to be bigger, stronger, more powerful. And we're building, I so believe you can build this faster than 2 to 3 years on Zoom, because I can do in a couple of days what it would take me 3 months to do.
Yeah.
And do it more efficiently and really like imprint. And by the way you do this business is the way people do it. So don't take any shortcuts. You can't, because you want them to imprint what you do.
Right.
Right?
I love it.
It's working like so well. I've got 4 people hitting new pin levels next week. And I just love it, you know,
Yeah.
and it's the belief of knowing that if they just follow the system, use the evaluation approach, no decision close. Hey, there's no decision to make. That's the best part about this. You don't have to make a decision. All we want you to do is lead us to a couple of people to help you evaluate it. They may not be interested, that's fine. But my goodness, let's get it so that you understand it, you get it, and we set you up for success. It's called a trial run. We qualify everybody.
Yep.
Like, we don't want to push people into this or pressure them, whatever. No, they pressure us to get registered because we're getting them to lead to people.
Once they get people, once they're leading to people, and those people can't help themselves, they can't. They're saying, "Hey, I got to get started because I can't sponsor without." Yeah, they're asking us to bring them in instead of you saying, "Hey, do you want to get started?" Or
It's so true. But when you bring somebody on that's your personal, and you say whoever qualifies first, they're begging to register. They're rushing to get qualified. They lead you to people. It's crazy what happens.
And when you say qualifies first, you're looking for people to get you in front of like about what, 2, 3, 4 people, Elizabeth, something like that.
All right, I learned from this too, Dawn.
Yeah.
It's not just getting them to lead me to 2 to 3 people. It's getting one of them on a trial run. I learned from mistakes, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to stop short. You want to make sure you have at least one trial run going before you register anybody.
I love it. Cool.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter how many people they get in front of you. If they get a trial run going, right? But
and a lot of times they'll have people, and we've had people get started that had 2 people like it within the day that all registered. I mean, Kevin's on, just to throw out some love here. Kevin's on, and Kevin activated within 24 hours because he saw it, got people to look at it. He was activated in 24 hours from where he registered.
I love that.
Eva and Juan are on here. They're from Fort Myers, Florida, and they're new into business, but they had someone who's testing out who had 7 guests on himself tonight. So B level, C level.
Yeah.
And by the way, on this call is Adolphe, which is he had the 7 guests on, and one of his people, which is Anne Marie, right? So like now we have a couple guests that are in trial runs on tonight, learning here.
Isn't that awesome? I love that. And just know, you guys, all you got to do is follow the system, man, and we all work together as a team. And I believe that this makes it so much more fun too.
It really does.
Makes it so much more fun.
Let me brag on a couple more people because they earned it, and I want you to hear their name real quick. I just told you a couple of them. We have Shondell and Chiquita. Shondell is activated. She just already got new pin level already in the last week or 2. We have for herself. We have, let's see, Miriam from, she's less than 3 months in, and she is a coordinator. She's personally sponsored 4. I think 3 of her 4 are already half activated. One of them's fully activated, I think, and she's doing this process perfectly. Steve and Sandra Turner, they're only 90 days in. They're already an executive coordinator, and they've been just showing it over and over and over again. Vina's on a roll with her group. She's got people just leading to people constantly, and they're doing Zoom presentations every single day. Jason Pierre, Jason has, I think, 4 or 5 personal sponsors that are all leading to people and 4 or 5 personal sponsors himself in the last 5 or 6 weeks. And all of them are all leading to people on the Zoom process, just installing that. Same with Becky and Dan Abanalis. Maleva's leading from the front with her group. It's just so much fun, and I'm not leaving anybody out intentionally here. We're over 50 people now, and I'm just like peering through, but it's just so exciting. And they're all doing the same thing, Elizabeth. All they're doing is asking people to evaluate, get them on the the trial run. Ask them what they like most. If they want to give it a shot, test it out, get people to evaluate it, and they're proving to them that it works before them having to make a decision about money, because they're going to make it before
exactly.
Last thoughts. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up? I appreciate you so much getting on, sister.
Yeah, well, this team is so strong, Maliva. You know why? Because you got a great coach that does what he preaches, and that's everything. You know, people are going to do what you do, not what you tell them to do, and your team is only only going to grow as fast as its leader, and that's why it's so important. People poop out like, you know, they're making their residual income. Like, I'm making my residual income. You're making your residual income, Dawn and Lisa. But this isn't about me. It's about helping other people and making a difference and having a why. You know, it's about having purpose and knowing that we have the best company with the best products, with the best people, with the best plan. And it just takes getting people to evaluate it and following JR's process and not be so much into signing people up, because that's not what we're about, guys. We're about developing people. We're about helping people become successful. And you better make sure you don't waste time with people who waste your time. You got to find the right people and go with them, and then have a blast, because you will have a blast. People won't be bringing you down. They'll be bringing you up.
Yeah,
right?
that's